everybody! Well, as I'm sure most of you know, the summer solstice happened earlier this week, and so that means that this weekend is the Midsummer celebration that happens all across Scandinavia, and I'm certain in other countries as well, all over the world, but mostly in Scandinavia. And 3 years ago, I got to go to Sweden as a study abroad student. I lived for 6 weeks in the small college town of Lund, spelled Lund. It's in the very southern part of Sweden and is about half an hour train ride away from Copenhagen in Denmark. And it was a wonderful experience. I made lots of great friends with the other study abroad students. I saw and experienced all kinds of interesting things. I met some old friends that I'd known for a long time. I met family that I knew was over there, but I hadn't met them yet because I have Swedish ancestry in my family a couple generations back, and so I met some Swedish relatives. One of the most fun memories I have is the study abroad students and we actually celebrated Midsummer on that weekend. We all arrived in Sweden on a Thursday or a Friday, so we were all pretty jet lagged. At least I suffered pretty bad jet lag. But within a couple of days of our arrival, it was time for Midsummer, and we were like, okay, great, let's go check out what the locals are doing. You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. On the Friday, we went to just a local celebration in the city, and it was a celebration where they had the pole, the maypole or the midsummer pole, and we all danced around it. Most of us not really understanding what exactly was happening. Of course, they were singing and dancing, and we really, as people who had only been in the country for less than 24 hours, some of us were like, what's happening? But we went along with it, and it was a lot of fun. And then the next day, the Saturday, we took the train to Copenhagen and went to this big park where it was a big park, and everybody packed a picnic dinner and just brought their food, and we sat at this park and had our picnics, and there was a lake right out in front of us, and in the middle of the lake there was this big pile of wood, and as the sun was setting, and when it got dark enough, they lit up the pile of wood, so there was this big bonfire in the middle of the lake, and it was awesome. So yeah, Midsummer was one of my favorite memories I had in Sweden, and I want to go back to Sweden, so hopefully someday I'll be there for Midsummer again. But one of the traditions they have is they drink this stuff, Aquavit. And forgive me if I mispronounced that name, but this is a traditional Swedish Scandinavian liquor, and it's from what I googled, because I didn't have any of this on Midsummer when I was in Sweden, because like I said, terrible jet lag. So adding alcohol to the equation, even though I know drinking until you're blitzed out of your mind is a tradition for Midsummer, but for me that year I'm like, well, I'm already kind of dazed as it is, so adding booze to the mix probably isn't the smartest idea. But people drink this in Scandinavia on Midsummer for Christmas dinner. It's basically a drink that's broken out for special occasions, and you can drink it either neat, so just in a shot glass, or you can drink it over ice and just sip it, or it can also be used as a substitute for vodka. And even on the back of this bottle, there's a recipe for a Norwegian Bloody Mary. So you make a Bloody Mary, but instead of vodka, you add some of this. And so I wanted to share my experience with you guys, from my fellow Americans or anyone outside of Europe who may not know what Aquavit is. So hopefully if it seems like something you would like, and you can find it at your local alcohol specialty store. You can pick it up and give it a try. I got this at my local Bevmo and it was $39, so a little pricey, but considering how big the bottle is and the fact that you only drink little bits at a time, considering you drink it in a shot glass or in cocktails, it seemed like a good price. So I will go and put some of this over ice and I will be right back to try it. All right, so I'm back and I've got my Aquavit in my awesome Vasa mug that I got when I was in Stockholm and I went to the Vasa Museum. And now, so we can have our Aquavit. So first I'm gonna just smell it and tell you guys, try and describe what it smells like. It has a very fresh smell to it, a very, it sort of smells like black licorice, but a very faint, light aroma of black licorice. And I say that as someone who cannot stand the taste or the smell of black licorice. Like, this is fine. This doesn't smell too bad. It smells like just a light, fresh, minty smell, but so it's not too black licorice-y, but yeah, I say that as someone who the smell of black licorice or the taste of it makes me want to throw up. I probably shouldn't say this, but like, if you ever want to torture me, put a gun to my head and make me eat or even just smell pieces of black licorice, and I will be completely miserable and will probably throw up. But this doesn't smell too strong. It doesn't smell too much like black licorice. It has a faint smell of it, but it has more of a just a sweet, refreshing smell, which makes sense then. You would drink this. This would be a summer drink on a nice hot day, or even for a special meal, like a big Christmas meal. You would want to drink something refreshing and sort of sweet, something to cleanse the palate, to sort of cleanse the palate, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's what it smells like, and it's clear. It's not it's a clear liquid, as I mean, I'm sure as you saw when I was holding up the bottle. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna taste it now. So skål. And I know I probably mispronounced that, or I had a very strong accent, so the majority of people who are native Swedish speakers are probably at least giggling at my pronunciation. But anyway, cheers. It definitely does have, ooh, it's one of those drinks where you drink it and you think, oh, this is nice, it's refreshing, it's minty, it's, again, a tiny itsy bitsy taste of black licorice, but not enough where it would make someone like me who hates the smell and taste of strong, pure black licorice throw up. It's more of a light minty taste, but it's again one of those drinks where you take a sip and you're like, oh, this is nice, it's refreshing, it's sweet, and then about 2 seconds later after you swallow it, you're like, wow, it warms up the throat. Not as strong as if you were, say, to drink rum straight up out of a shot glass. It's not that kind of burning, but it's definitely a warm feeling in the throat. So I could also see how this would be consumed at Christmas time or in winter, when in Scandinavia it's pitch black for hours and it's cold and snowing. And so yeah, I could see how it works for all year round, basically, whether it's in the sunshiny, summery half of the year when it's the light, refreshing taste comes in, or during the winter when it's cold outside and you want something to warm you up. if you hold it in your mouth and you don't swallow it right away, you can definitely taste the licorice more. But just drinking it, like take a sip and you swallow it right away, you don't hold it on your tongue. It's more of a minty, light flavoring, but it's pretty good. I can see how why people would like this and how dangerous it could be where you're picnicking all day or barbecuing all day and you're like, hey everybody, let's have something to drink, you know, break out the cocktails, offer drinks to your guests, or just drinking at a picnic. So yeah, I can see how this can get dangerous if you're not careful, because it's light and refreshing, like, oh, this is nice to sit and drink it. So I could definitely see how by the end of an afternoon. So that is Aquavit. I hope I explained this to anyone who maybe hasn't tried it and is looking for something new and different to try. And I hope everyone had a safe and happy Midsummer and continues to have a happy Midsummer celebration, because we have one more, at least here in the States, because it's Saturday night now as I'm filming this. And so tomorrow we have one more day of Midsummer celebration. So if you're in the States like me, have a happy and blessed final day of celebrating Midsummer. If you're in Scandinavia and the Midsummer celebration is already over or coming to a close, I hope you had a great time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Skål!